Hello everyone, my name is David, and today we are going to do a walkover of my 1999 Volvo V70 T5 with the 2.3 turbo engine and the 5-speed manual transmission. We're going to go all around the car, look at the good, the bad, give you a very honest overview so you know exactly what you're buying, and give you a little bit of history on the 2 years that I've owned it, some of the stuff I've done, some of the maintenance I've done, and anything else that might be relevant to the sale. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I do a lot of work with IPD, and I have several other Volvos that I use. This one I need to sell for tuition for university for the next year. And we'll start here with the front. I've got the XC grille. It has the prancing moose. That's been on there, I'd say, about a year. No problems with the moose coming off. The turn signals have been dimmed, darkened, using a tinting paint, and they still work pretty well. I'll show you that in a minute. The little wiper arms and wiper blades, I have replacements in my garage, but I will include those. They're really easy to replace, and I'll probably end up doing it in the next couple of days. The German plate is not included, maybe for the right price, but it's got some sentimental value to it. My fog lights are from a 90s Lexus. They were mounted and cut to fit with the Lexus grille. Had a little bit of a run-in with a cement barrier in a parking structure. It was just a small scrape, which could probably be worked out. Knowing the people who are interested in these kinds of sportier Volvos with all the nice options, you guys are probably going to end up putting an R bumper on it or something of that sort. The brand new brakes, drilled and slotted rotors with ceramic pads from Power Sport. Got the Bilstein HD yellow shocks. They still have plenty of life in them. They do very well to dampen the shocks in the road. I have the mud flaps for the front. I've removed them. More prancing moose. Scratches basically all over the car. I inherited it from some people that really put it to work 2 years ago with 150,000 miles. There are dents, as you can see. Small ones on this side. Scratches throughout. It used to have tint. They've removed the tint, but there's still a layer of glue. I have not taken the time. I don't really notice it as I drive. It doesn't bother me. There are the drilled and slotted brakes in the rear. I also replaced the drum brakes. They've got about 50 miles on them. I'm still breaking them in, but so far I love them. The tires, you can see that they're in great shape. Moving on to the back. Also tinted the back lenses. There's a sticker from a local Volvo group. That's my New Zealand sticker. I can remove any of these if desired for the sale. Got an R-wing. It's flat black. Got the R badging with an IPD badge underneath that. There are a couple of other R goodies on here that we'll go through in a minute. Now on the bumper back here, this is one of those 3M clear stickers that's just been really scratched through years of use. I have not taken the time to remove it since I use this car a lot for camping and fitting a lot of things inside the back like bicycles, etc. Got a flat black exhaust tip that replaced the old rusted exhaust tip. Somebody ran into me in a parking lot, left that, did not bother to leave any sort of apology note on the window. One thing I forgot to mention is the U-Haul tow bar that's been installed. I have a tow ball attachment to it that is a 2-inch ball, I believe, and this car is rated to tow 3,000 pounds, which is actually just about as much as it weighs. This one weighs 3,300 pounds. The automatics weigh, I think, somewhere around 3,200 pounds. And I've actually seen people tow a Volvo with a Volvo. So that tells you a little bit about its robustness. And while we're here, let's take a good look under view. Just some dirt there. There's the gas tank. There's the rear Bilstein with the springs. It's a Doctor Who sticker. This is the only damage that's bigger on the car. It's really hard to tell, maybe if I move around a bit. A woman backed up into me as I was buying another Volvo. It was my 67 Amazon that I have a full restoration series on my YouTube channel. No damage to the car besides the little bit of the dent there and a little bit on the fuel door itself. Notice another little dent here above the door handle. One of those dome mirrors. Another prancing moose. Smoked out turn signals. And back to the front. All the tires are good, have no problems holding air. The Pegasus wheels, I will note that they are 18 inches, no, sorry, they're 17 by 8s. Being 8 inches wide, they rub a little bit on the inner fender well. You might be able to see in there. But nothing abrasive to damage the wheel. It's just when you're at full lock, I've quickly learned not to go to full lock and still make most of the turns necessary in tight spaces. Here on the hood, lots of scratches. This is a little bit of clear coat that's faded in two strange spots, like as if a chemical was on them at some point. The wiper blades are those single contouring ones. They work rather nicely for being 2+ years old. The windshield does have a crack on it. Let's see if I can get a better image of that. It starts here. I should say it ends there, and then it goes all the way up to there. It has not grown once in the 2 years I've had the car. There are a few chips in the windshield that I also inherited. One here, and two about an inch apart over there, and one here. A new windshield I've quoted about $175 installed. These trim pieces could use a repaint. The paint's kind of coming off of them. The load bars, a couple scratches and dings in place. I've used these load bars for plenty of things. I've used them on bike racks, luggage racks, various placements. You will notice some scratches on the roof and a few dents. Like I said, the car was inherited as a workhorse, and I tried to be good to it as much as I could. Alright, let's go into the inside now. See, here's the door panel. Rather clean. I'll have still photos in the listing to show all these things in detail. Nice thing about Volvos, if you didn't know this already, it's got a side impact protection system, which is an airbag located right here on the left side of the seat. So what I've done with this car is I've sort of taken the best things from the other models and added them all to this one. First one being the R gauges that are blue. Everything works on them. Then is the C70 dashboard with the center speaker. There's actually no speaker in there because the one that came with the C70 dash when I got it was pretty bad shape, and I don't have the radio for it. Although I do have a C70 head unit that you can use. I will include that with the sale if you desire so. Got the C70 floor mats. I've got a cloth center armrest that keeps the heat off because it gets rather hot with the leather one. And of course C70 seats. The leather is a lot more resilient than the beige, and the only wear on these ones would be here, a little bit on the corner, right where that metal junction is. A little bit of abrasiveness here, which is very common where the seatbelt rubs. Otherwise, this one's all in good shape. You can see that we're at 191,648 miles. We've got 2 IPD stickers there. They look rather nice in the evening. I have the IPD LED light bulbs that are on the main 3 gauge clusters there. I've got my SunPro oil gauge with the boost gauge. Had those on for about a year, no problems. Got the wood trim on all of these things inside the interior. This came with the car. There's a little bit of wear and tear on it, but I try to keep it clean as much as I can. There it is on the center console with the CD. Got the code for the radio, should you ever need it. It is written in the owner's manual. This is a shifter from an automatic because the 5-speed shift knob disintegrated eventually, and I had one of these lying around in the garage, and so I made it work, and I feel like it deters a lot of theft when people are like, oh, it's an automatic, it'll be harder to roll away or get it out of gear. But you can see it's actually got really nice throw to it, and it's good. It's a good height if you want to, you know, rest your elbow on the armrest and shift with ease. Sometimes I just shift lazily with my 2 fingers, which is great. I am not a smoker, so I've used this ashtray just for various little bits of hardware and some fishing assortments. This is our passenger side. More wood trim. This is actually darker wood trim. It's not just the stick-on, it's the Volvo wood trim that came as an option. With the passenger seat, it is considerably better shape. There's not that same wear in the corners. The only thing is that somebody stepped in here once with their knee right on the seam, and a, 10, 11-year-old seam, actually 14 or 15 years old, couldn't handle all the weight, and so it did split. And there's really no problem additionally from it just looking like this. It has not grown at all, and it's not spreading, and that was about a year ago as well. There's a great little cubby down there to hold things. Here's our inside the glove box. Got the owner's manual, service record manual, some napkins, and a few receipts from work that I've had done, although I mostly do my own work. Here with this cover, this is where our cup holder is. I've actually fit those Route 44 drinks from Sonic. I fit 2 in here, which weighed it down considerably, and I didn't have any problems with it. Of course, I was very careful not to hit any big bumps. But yeah, you could hold probably up to 88 ounces of drink in here, although I don't know how long you'd want to do that. So it's a pretty good cup holder. Under here is where the OBD2 cable is, some storage for CDs or whatever have you, spare coins, heated seats. The passenger side works, the driver's side failed on me about 6 months ago, and now it's summer, so I haven't really minded. Some of the options, it's got heated mirrors, it has an information display, tells you your fuel economy at the moment, average miles to empty, trip meter, outside temperature, things like that. With this car, I can average 24 in the city if I'm easy on it, 28 to 30 if there's no traffic. It's 3 in the morning. If you're doing what they call high-spirited driving and you're really enjoying the turbo, then you can probably expect to see anywhere between 18 and 19 miles per gallon, which is still better than your Jeep, and certainly a lot more fun. Okay, here we've got the fog lights. This is a rear fog light, which is a nice little safety feature from Volvo in case there's a fog. There's the dimmer switch and our light switch, which is nice, it's automatic. There's even a nice little feature called Walk Me Home, where the lights will stay on for something like 20 seconds after you lock the doors, which is kind of nice. Oh, but one more thing, the boost gauge also gives you a lot of good reference and feedback for fuel economy and, you know, how to not be a lead foot. But I will say this engine is very peppy, and it's very good at keeping a consistent 15 pounds of pressure when it needs to. I might be 14 depending on my vantage point, where I put my head, etc., but very happy engine. Unfortunately, Tom Baker is not included with the sale. He's got a little too much sentimental value for that, but he's a nice little touch on the dashboard there. There's only one area where this car needs any work, and that would all be right here. So two things. One, the SRS light is on. I had the code read by my independent Volvo shop, and it was the clock spring. The second one is that the ignition tumblers have failed on the ignition. What that means is, well, several things. Because it's a Volvo, there is, the key still goes in, turns to position 1. I'll show you it right now. And that is as far as it goes. It's enough to unlock the steering wheel. It's given me full mobility. It's been this way for about a year because I have not had the money to fix it, what with school and all. And so what I had to do to get the car back on the road is I took the ignition switch out of, let me show you here where it sits. You can see here, this is the, when I'm turning the key, that is what it's turning there, which in turn is right here with the ignition switch. It seems kind of weird, a little ghetto, but I've had to use the screwdriver to start the car. I basically treat the screwdriver like the key, but the key has to be in the ignition because it has an immobilizer that is read by the ignition system, and if you don't have the key in there, it will not start the car. Let me demonstrate that for you. If you want to look at it as an extra safety feature, if you forget your keys in the car, somebody gets in and goes, "Hey, the key's not turning, I can't take this car." Or, you know, general extra step for safety. Like I said, it's been over a year. I've had no problems with this, and I'm lucky that the key did not fail in the 0 position. It actually went all the way to position 1 where I could still have the wheel turning. So I have a price that I got from the shop on what it's going to cost to repair this. I have adjusted the price of the car accordingly, otherwise I would be asking more. And when they replace the ignition tumbler, they pull out the steering wheel, they pull off the clock spring, a new clock spring goes in, fixes that SRS issue and the ignition issue at the same time. So I would do it myself, but like I said, I need to sell the car for tuition money. I can't afford to be putting in more money to repair this issue. So here we go with the starting. Right, so in any regular day of driving, I get in, put the key, turn it to the 1 position so that I can unlock the wheel, push the clutch in, get this going. This is the on position, and to start, and that's it. Same thing for when you need to turn the car off. Put it in whatever gear you need to put it, turn this off, key comes out, voila. Pretty easy. You'll see that if I leave the key out and I try to start the car, let's say I'm a thief or something and I get in here, besides the steering wheel locking and not being able to go anywhere, it starts, it says, "Hey, there's no key in here," and turns off right away, which is a great anti-theft measure. Should you ever put the key in or start the car without the key, there's a little bit of an initial reset that you do. I found this out. You know, if you try to put it in right away and start it, it'll still think, "Hey, someone's trying to steal your car, don't do it." So what you do is you put the key in, you cycle it to on, then to off, take the key out, and then you're ready to start it, which is back in, turn it on. I know it seems a little daunting to have to do this. It might look bad on a first date, but honestly, like I said, I adjusted the price. It's really easy to get used to this, but if you don't want to get used to it, just fix it, and you've got yourself a great car without any problems. Okay, let's move on to the back of the car and we'll look at some more features. One thing I forgot to mention is that the steering wheel is a full tilt and telescopic, so it moves in and out, up and down, and any combination of those. Alright, moving on to the passenger side, the door panel here. It's very clean and nice. There's the door jamb. There's the inner door jamb. Again, the SIPs. Slight impact protection right there. Where's there an airbag? Okay, onto the back. Just had the floor mats cleaned, vacuumed, all that. Here's the back seat. It's really nice. It's a 60-40 split. Couple of wrappers. So really lots of space to be had. When this seat moves up, you tuck the headrest down, push the little lock button, which is much better than the other cars that do these things like Subarus, because this is a very sturdy lock. I've actually got the third row seat up, so it's not going to go down right now. Oh yes, there's a third row seat. And there's the other side. The other seat, that's the 40. There's the headrest. Got my subwoofer in the back. Great, you've got a cigarette lighter back here with more wood trim and an ashtray. Like I said, no smokers, so no smell to worry about there. Here's this door panel. Great. Okay, onto the back. My favorite feature of this car, the third row seat. Yes, it's glorious. Second favorite feature on this car, you may have already noticed. This cage, I've only seen one car with this cage, which is the solid metal cage, not the little nets that come up from the back of the seat. And that would be this car here. It's got these little shocks on them that keep it up and keep it down. It stays up perfectly, has lots of resistance, so you don't ever have to worry about it falling on you. It stays down, keeps the dogs out. It works so great with dogs. I've had a couple in here. That's my little decorative New Mexico thorn thing. Alright. I do have a big plastic mat that comes down wherever this seat folds down. Let me demonstrate for you. This goes down. There's a little release here. Bring that down. It's a bit dirty because, well, it's a workhorse. But the big plastic cover covers all of that. It's great for anything that you have that could spill. Subwoofer is not included with the sale. It's been with me too long and I enjoy it far too much, and it's really so cheap and basic that for the price you could just find something nicer. But I like it and it works. Under here it's got the spare tire change kit without the actual spare tire. I gave that to a friend in need who did not have a spare tire and have not since seen it. But I can get you one if you so desire, or they're really easy. It seems like every week on Craigslist somebody's giving out a spare tire, so. Okay, there's that 3M sticker that's, you know, taken the brunt of the scratches and can be removed and replaced with another one. There is something to be said about the climate control. The AC works really well. It's got an automatic function that never seems to work quite right, but you know, I'm very particular about how I like it. It has, here's the display with average miles per hour, miles per gallon, instantaneous, average, temperature, miles on the trip meter, miles to empty. You can reset these at any time. Here I'm holding the reset button. Bam, back to 0. Every 10 inputs it averages out. And it was at 17.8 because I had driven to work and back after reconnecting the battery after doing a little bit of work. So let's go under the hood and tell you what the work I did was. Oh, and you also can't tell, but the LEDs from IPD, they're a really nice color, and you'll have to see them better at night. This car has 2 hood latches. Sometimes it's annoying having to walk out here and lift it up and see that one side lifts up and the other one doesn't, so go back in and pull the handle again. Okay, the HID lights, I was told they were going to be amber. They came a little bit pink, and I'm not extremely happy about that, but they work okay, and I got used to it and I started to like them. There's the turn signal, there are the fog lights. Let's open the hood and check it out. Okay, one of my favorite touches is the sticker I had made. My other Volvo is a Volvo. It's always a hit at parties. Inside we've got the V70 T5M M56. which is a 2.3 liter engine with a 16T turbo. It's really powerful. It makes 236 horsepower and something like 250 torque. Volvo engines have always been very torquey, and this engine has never given me any problems internally. The problems that I had were the front main seal went out and got oil on the timing belt, and so I replaced the timing belt, the front main seal. That belt only had about 20,000 miles on it at the time, and I changed the cam seals in the front and the back as well. You can see it's got the Volvo R valve cover. It has 5 new coil packs. They're about $50 a piece, so it really adds up. Timing belt was changed. You can see the sticker right there. 171,000 miles, April of 2013. It's got variable valve timing on the exhaust side, which is really great for the power. I've gone through this entire engine. I have gone through every hose and replaced what needs to be replaced. The red hose is the tee off on that main line to my boost gauge. I've got the oil pressure hose here that goes right to the sensor, and it tees off there. It's got a K&N filter. I cleaned that a few months ago, and it actually surprisingly stayed this color. Duralast gold battery has given me no problems in the 2 years. It has the evap hose line was gone through and replaced at the canister, which is underneath the gas tank, which is a common problem for evap codes. It has a brand new Bosch O2 sensor. That costs about 180 bucks. The fuel relay, which is a common issue for these cars not running properly or randomly dying on you because they've got a 10-year life, has been replaced, I think, last winter. New radiator 2 years ago, with 150,000 miles, so it's got 40,000 miles on the radiator. And another cool feature is that the hood itself actually goes vertical at these little pins here. One of the best features about this car, people will warn you about the newer Volvos. They say don't buy anything past the 98 because they all have those ETMs that fail, the electronic throttle module. Well, this has a Z-Mod X ETM, which is a contactless throttle position sensor, and it is not giving me any problems. In fact, Z-Mod X parts are so guaranteed to work, well, they better be, they cost about $600, that I even got one for my mother's S60, and no problems with that. Got my ballasts here for the HID bulbs. It's just a basic, what is it, H7 bulb. Got an FCP sticker, because it's a great parts company that does a lot of genuine Volvo parts for great prices. RSW is a local Racing Southwest group. And got the polyurethane upper engine mount, and since we're on mounts, I'll tell you what I just replaced a few days ago. So under the car you can see that there are no oil leaks. Sorry, people are shooting fireworks. I just changed the torque mount here on the transmission, and I have new sway bar links. You can see the CV joints are great, no problems there. All the bushings otherwise look good. I also changed the motor mount on that other side, which is the lower engine mount. And I mounted the fog lights very well underneath here. So they've had no problems in the about year and a half that they've been on the car. The oil pan O-rings were changed out when I did the new seal on it. That's a common issue for having low oil pressure. So when I changed the pan 6-8 months ago, I put in new rings as well. I always run Mobil 1 1040 full synthetic with the Mol filter, and so that keeps it running very happily and reliably. The new brakes are a lot of fun. I really enjoy them, and being ceramic, they do have to warm up a little bit before fully operational. Once again, no oil leaks, a very happy engine, very content, and honestly I've driven this car from here to Idaho. I think that's 1,700 miles and back. I would take it anywhere. I would take this car to the moon if it could fly, and honestly put some wings on it with the amount of power it makes, I'm very happy with. It certainly would be able to fly. A couple of small things. I did change the cabin air filter. It did not come with the new sticker, so that one says that it was last changed in 2002, but I changed it last summer. It's got maybe 20,000 miles on it. So overall, a very good car. I've taken it on several road trips: Colorado, Utah, Idaho, southern New Mexico. It's been great off-road, you know, as much as two-wheel drive can be, but it's actually quite impressive. The clutch is great, it's very strong. I've never had any trouble from the police concerning the smoked out taillights, the smoked out turn signals, or the funky colored headlights. If there's any problem, I can give you information on parts suppliers that do quality HIDs for about $10 a pair. And if you're questioning that, you can just take my word for it. They last about a year on average, and I think that's pretty good for $10 bulbs. And you can get any color you want. That's the great option with the HIDs. The rear wiper blade could use a little bit of a change, but honestly this is such a great car, and it's going to be, you know, with a couple of like little modifications, a tune will make so much more power out of just the stock internals. A turbo upgrade will be great. I'll show you that it doesn't smoke when I rev it. It's got a great sound with the K&N filter, and while it's cold, and then as soon as it warms up it quiets down a little bit. Just been extremely happy with this car. There's so much room in the back. You could sleep in it if you ever need to, and I've needed to, you know, especially when you're camping in bear country. Just put everything on the roof and sleep in the back. Watch an episode of Walking Dead while you're at it. And you know, honestly, if Volvo made a manual transmission all-wheel drive that wasn't an R, like a cross-country, that would be just superb. But this car just does so well for just being a front-wheel drive. And yeah, buy my Volvo. You'll be very happy with it. I stand by my work, and it's a daily driver, lots of highway miles, and I'm very sad to see it go. Nothing else in the world that has this much space, to be honest, that gets this good fuel economy. It's not a Suburban. So any questions, please feel free to ask me. I am trying to be very genuine, very honest with the problems that this car has, what needs to be fixed. Honestly, there's not much that gets you going. Let me show you the sunroof and running the engine.